welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil Deal.
I'm Andio.
And we are KAMMA, about to talk about our early predictions for the prelims for UFC Vegas 104. This is going to be a really pretty interesting card, man. It looks pretty good, actually, on paper here. We've got Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze, part 2 for the main event. But we're going to talk about the prelims right now, and we're going to talk about who's in the prelims. We got the first fight is Younessi Dubin versus Carly Judice. Josiana Nunes against Priscilla Cachoeira. Andre Lima against Daniel Barez. Josias Musasa against Carlos Vera. DR Nergozai against Brenson Ribeiro. Sam Hughes against Stephanie Luciano. And the main event of the prelims here, which is Waldo Cortes-Acosta against Ryan Spann. So last week, with all the controversy and the robberies last week, and with everything that went on with the losing fights, we still did pretty good. Me and NDO going 7-3 in the predictions in those 10 fights. So that's 70%. We did pretty damn well.
And as well made a profit on the betting. So
made a profit on the betting. I hit again on a KO submission prop with Bruno Ferreira. This week again. The week before that, it was Sam Patterson. So we got some good dog plays. And I would have been 8-2 if I would have stuck with my early predictions there and stuck with Bruno Ferreira. But hey, man, it's what it is. You got to live with it. And yeah, man, so I still made money off the bet, though. But let's get into it, man. The first fight of the prelims. We got Carly Judice against Younessi Dubin. Who you got here, Andy O, in this one?
yeah, so here we got Carly Judice, Crispy here, who we saw a couple times before, and she looked pretty bad in one of those fights, I would say, and she looked half decent against the fight against Karikate, I believe it was. And she's coming in as a pretty big favorite here. I was expecting maybe to see the line a little closer together because Younessi Dubin, she had a pretty crazy knockout on her Contender Series fight, albeit against a girl with no striking defense. So this is the way I feel the line should be. I think a lot of these fights, I think the gas tank will be a factor. I think this may be one of them. We've seen that Carly Judice has a gas tank, and look, her striking defense is not that great either, but she has a way of not getting hit super clean a lot. She does get hit a lot, but she keeps on coming. She's feisty, and I think she's definitely going to be able to out volume Dubin here, but she has to look out for the power, because that's one thing that I think Younessi has is better power, as she showed last fight. But I'm still going with Carly Judice here. More volume, better gas tank, presumably.
Yes, baby. I like the way this is starting. I like the way this is starting. I'm also going for Carly Judice in this one here, man.
By decision, because she doesn't really have much power, Crispy.
Yeah, now I watched these fights. Carly Judice is actually pretty damn good, man. The fight against Ernesta Karikate, like you said, she actually looked pretty good in that fight. What I like about Carly Judice, she throws a lot of volume, a lot of solid punches down the middle, very good kicks. She kicks a lot. She moves around very quickly in the cage. She jumps around a lot. She's always moving, always bobbing her head, always throwing a lot of volume. She's really, really quick on her feet. Now with Younessi Dubin, and also, yeah, the fight against Gabriela Fernandez, man, we have to talk about the fact that, man, Gabriela Fernandez is a beast in the cage, man. She's actually very powerful and very strong.
Yeah, and Judice didn't quit in that fight. I remember
She didn't quit, and she got hit with a lot of hard, powerful punches from Gabriela Fernandez, who's a much bigger and stronger girl than Younessi Dubin. Now, Younessi Dubin, I watched her fight too, and we got to talk about a couple of things here, man. This hype that some people have on Younessi Dubin has got to stop. Ingrid Garcia, I watched that fight. She was a little tiny, small, skinny girl, and Younessi Dubin's got some meat on her. She's a pretty thick girl. She's pretty big, and she was beating her up. Her own corner threw in the towel in that fight. The girl was actually capable to continue fighting, but her corner said no. They threw in the towel. They threw in a T-shirt into the middle of the cage, calling the fight off. So that knockout wasn't really a knockout. It was the corner that stopped the fight. The second fight, she fought against Shannon Clark, who was 5'5", who was very, very small, and she was very built, though. She was pretty muscular and big, but she kept moving forward and keeping her head open to get hit. And what ended up happening was Yunesi just went with an over right hook and ended up an overhand right and ended up knocking her square in the face. Like she walked right into that fucking punch and was out cold. Like you could see her body turned stiff and everything and landed on the ground.
That was it, yeah.
But these are lower level fighters that Yunesi Dubin has faced, man. Before that, it was very low level fighters, 0-0 fighters that just started fighting in like this really lower event promotion that didn't even have a record. They were 0-0 when she was fighting these people, the only contender was Shannon Clark, who was 5-0 in that Dana White's Contender Series. So I really think she's going to get fraud checked here against Carly Giudice. Carly Giudice has fought the better fighters, Ernesta Karakaide in the UFC, and also Gabriela Fernandez, much better fighters than who Yunesi Dubin has fought. And I think she's going to go out there, land more volume, last longer too. Her cardio is good. We don't know how far Yunesi Dubin is going to go. She's only lasted one round in most of her fights. So definitely like Carly Giudice to win here by knockout or decision. Most likely she'll win by decision, though, because Yunesi seems to be pretty tough, but you never know. She could get knocked out. You never know. But I'll take KO or decision for the first fight. Nice. So we're in agreement with this fight here. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Josiana Nunes versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Now, there's a reason why we call her Priscilla Cachoeira, because every time she goes out there, she catches a beating. And, man, like, I got to go with Josiana Nunes here. Now, even though she's going to be the shorter girl, it's not a big deal because Josiana Nunes has fought a lot of tall opponents, such as Jacqueline Cavalcanti, Chelsea Chandler, Zara Farron, who was much taller than her. So the fact that Priscilla is 5'7" compared to Josiana Nunes at 5'3" is not a big deal. Okay. Second of all, Priscilla Cachoeira does not know how to fight well. That's why they call her Zombie Girl. All she does is put pressure. She keeps moving forward. She leaves her head open. She throws very wild and crazy punches that most of the time don't really land and are all over the place. Josiana Nunes is the better boxer. She's way more technical. She's got better boxing skills. She knows how to throw punches and land good, solid jabs, solid uppercuts, and solid hooks. She knows how to move on her feet. She throws leg kicks as well. And she could defend takedowns if Priscilla decides to try to go that route. I like Josiana Nunes to out-volume Priscilla Cachoeira. She's got nice, fast punches with lots of combinations. And let's face it, man, she's looked pretty good in the UFC, beating the likes of Bia Malecki, Romana Pasquale, Zara Farron, bigger opponents than her. Yeah, she lost to Chelsea Chandler and Jacqueline Cavalcanti, but those were split decisions. The Chelsea Chandler one was basically because she was just a bigger girl who kind of bullied her. But, catch a beating's been losing also, losing to Jasmine Jasudavicius, getting submitted. Miranda Maverick submitted her as well. And Jillian Robertson submitted her as well. So she lost 3 subs in her fights and only winning against Ji Young Kim and Ariana Lipsky, where she actually got a really, really lucky knockout in that fight 2 years and 6 months ago. So I like Josiana Nunes in this one. I think she can get the job done here. What about you, Andio?
Yeah, I think Nunes is better on the feet. Cachoeira, zombie, always marching forward, taking hits, sometimes needlessly. But that's her style, a real brawler. If she cracks Nunes clean, I'm sure it's going to hurt. But I like the fact that Nunes even has a little grappling she can use, and probably to some success, because that's always been one of Cachoeira's weaknesses, is just the inability to stop takedowns well. So, one other thing is that Cachoeira is going up in weight in this one, and Josiane Nunes is used to fighting at this weight, so I don't think that's going to be a problem here. And so give me Josiane Nunes by knockout or decision.
Yeah, I'm going to take knockout or decision as well for Josiana Nunes, man. I think she can actually knock her out too. Even though Priscilla's never been knocked out there, she's pretty tough. If she can get her to the ground too, a submission could be live. I know that Josiana Nunes doesn't have any subs, but that is something that Priscilla is very susceptible to. All 4 losses by submission and 2 decision losses as well. So yeah, KO or decision I think is the best bet, but you never know. A sub could happen if she gets her on the ground, gets her tired. All
At
right.
this time, you can't count on Josiane Nunes to take her down, even though it's a right decision to make, right? It's probably
Yeah,
maybe just going to stay up on the feet probably, and she should win it that way anyway, though.
exactly. So
Yeah.
we're in agreement with Josiana Nunes. That's nice. We're in agreement with 2 fights so far. I like that. Let's move on up to the next fight here, which is Andre Lima against Daniel Barez. Who we got here, Andy O?
I gotta stay on the Barres train here. I think he's going to be a lot kicker. He's a sorry, Lima train. I meant to say Lima here. You know,
Oh, okay. Thank goodness. Okay.
I don't think there's any real train on Barres here. Lima quality kickboxer. Barres likes to box also, and I think it's a bad place to be for him standing on the feet with Lima. The thing I gotta say about Barres here, if he can get it to the ground, because he has good grappling and he has better grappling than he does striking, is he could potentially cause Lima some problems there. Like I'm providing a path to victory here, and because if you look at Daniel Barres, he was giving Nakamura, he almost subbed Nakamura twice in that fight, I think, and he's pretty good on the ground there. So that's a potential thing to keep an eye out for, but I really think Lima's skills are just too high on the feet there, and he'll probably end up stopping a couple takedowns before he gets to the ground and really damage him up. Let's look for a knockout probably a knockout or decision for Lima.
All right, man. So yeah, I don't think it was Nakamura you're talking
Who
about.
was it? Because
I think you're talking about Victor Altamirano or Jeff El Filo. I think is the one that he subbed. He subbed Jeff El Filo.
could be getting my notes a bit mixed up here.
Yeah, because he didn't fight that guy. He fought Carlos Hernandez though, and lost. But he ended up losing by submission to Jeff El Filo. But he beat Victor Altamirano by decision. I think maybe
He didn't beat very quality guys though, and I'll clear that up if I see that no coming from somewhere else. But yeah,
Andre Lima, man, he's the pick. I'm picking him as well, man.
and I think his takedown defense is good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Andre Lima is a guy who I don't know if you guys remember this, but against Igor Severino, he got bit in that fight where he actually got that tattooed on his arm. The actual bite that he got, he made a tattoo of it, calling and he wrote it. He wrote the fucking you got fucking bit bonus. You got fucking bit bonus. That's the tattoo that he put with the bite.
Was it him?
Severino. Yeah, it's Andre Lima. And Dana White actually gave him a 50K bonus for doing that tattoo. So that was a fight that happened against Igor Severino, where Igor Severino bit him on the arm in that fight, and that was his UFC debut. So he ended up winning that by disqualification. Then he fought Mitch Raposo, won a split decision against him, and beat Felipe Dos Santos by unanimous decision. Now, Andre Lima is a guy who goes out there, he fights really hard, he cheats all kinds. He's the type of guy that will grab onto the fence.
And that's why Severino beat him and bit him. Sorry, and he was winning that fight, I think. And he actually bit him in a dominant position. Like who bites somebody in a dominant position? You know.
I know, because when he was trying to take him down, Andre Lima grabbed the fence and was preventing.
Oh, yeah, cheats all kinds.
He's a very big cheater. I kind of like that about him, though. He does everything he can to try to get the win. He cheats. He fucking does everything. He's the type of guy that'll get an eye poke. He'll kick you in the nuts, grab onto the fence, whatever he can do to get the win. And he's also actually pretty good. He's got a very good boxing technique. He's got very good punches and leg kicks. He moves around pretty fast in there, does some unorthodox type of moves. So you don't know what to expect from him. As long as he keeps the fight standing, he's got a decent takedown defense. As long as he keeps the fight standing and fends off some of the takedowns from Daniel Barez, he can easily get the win here. Barez is more of a grappler than a striker. He's got 7 knockouts, 6 submissions, 4 decision wins. So he does have some jiu-jitsu, Daniel Barez. So he has to be careful. But at 36 years old, compared to Andre Lima, who's 26 years old, in his prime, very young. He's also going to be the taller fighter, and I think he's going to be the better fighter in this one, and also a bit stronger. I think he could crack Daniel Barres and hurt him, and just do more damage in there, and do more for the judges to see. I have him winning by KO or submission as well in this one here.
Nice.
So we're in agreement with all of the fights so far in the prelims. Looking good, man. Let's get on to the next one here. All right, Carlos Vera against Josias Musasa. Who you got here, Andio?
Yeah, so this Musasa guy has quite very, very. He's powerful. He has sick power for the weight class, almost unlike we've seen, and I think it's probably going to overcome Carlos Vera here. This is what I wanted to talk about, though. This is where I got my notes messed up. Josias Musasa isn't proven on the ground at all. We don't really know if he can stop takedowns well, and we don't know if he can defend submissions very well. And Carlos Vera is the one that got Nakamura in a couple very compromising compositions in their fight, right?
Yeah, Nakamura, yeah, he did.
And if you can manage that against a guy like Nakamura, that's a master of angling and all of that down there, he can be scary. Now, I am going to pick Carlos Vera because I think he's just going to be too much on the feet, and he has a good chance at a knockout in this fight.
I pick Josias Musasa, you mean?
Yeah, Musasa here for sure.
Okay.
But there is a path for Vera also. So considering the crazy odds, I take a look at that too somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to call Josias Musasa here by a knockout.
All right, yeah, man, I'm in agreement. I like Josias Musasa as well. Carlos Vera is a grappler. That's all he does is really grapple and try to get submissions. Now, he's the type of guy that likes to roll around on the ground a lot. He tries to roll into leg locks and leg submissions.
Yeah.
He tries to roll on the ground and try to get a leg lock or try to some kind of submission on the ground. Arm bars, leg locks, ankle locks, things like that. He just likes to roll around on the ground a lot, and he likes to be on bottom. He tries to pull guard all the time. He's not the type of guy that really likes to stand up at all. And the guy has fought a bunch of bums in the Fury promotion, losing to guys that were 7-3. Beating guys that were 7-3, 9-4, 5-1. The one 8-1 guy that he beat was Isaiah Gutierrez there, where he got a guillotine choke. But against Rinya Nakamura there, he lost by unanimous decision in his UFC debut. Now, Josias Musasa looked really, really good in his Dana White Contender Series, winning that split decision over Atari Tanzanovi. But he's been knocking out everybody in the lower promotions with his strength and power. They call him the knockout wizard, the KO wizard, because of his knockout power. He is from Africa, from Congo. Very, very unorthodox style, very, very athletic. Big, strong, muscular, built guy, and his punches really hurt. He does have some good boxing technique, though. Throws some very powerful punches, good uppercuts, good punches, good jabs. He hasn't been tested on the ground really, so we don't know what his ground game's like. But he can fend off takedowns, though. He actually is pretty decent at stopping takedowns.
We'll see.
And so hopefully he's able to do enough to beat this guy, Carlos Vera, who I think is just going to roll around on the ground and really do not much of anything as far as on the feet. Like he's no threat on the feet at all. His punches suck. He throws with no power, so he could easily get knocked out. I like Josias Musasa to win by knockout. I think he gets rid of him in the first or second round, man.
Yeah, so just before beating Pure Scrubs, he did beat Abdelghani Saber, who was 6-1, then Marvin Malunas, 5-1, and then Otari Tanzilvazi, who was 9-0, and that was the Contender Series, a split decision win. So he hasn't exactly been putting out greatness here, but it's more than you can say for a lot of guys in the weight class to be able to knock these guys out.
Not to mention, Carlos Vera is 37 years old in bantamweight. That's very old for bantamweight. Very small guy who's going to be rolling on the floor a lot there. I don't think he has a chance. All right. So we're in agreement again in the prelims here. This is the fourth fight that we agree on. We're on a roll here, Andy. Let's keep it going here for the next one. Here we got Dr. Nirgozai against Brenson Ribeiro. Man, at first when I saw this photo, I was thinking Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Doesn't he look like Raiden from Mortal Kombat? With that hat, it's fucking amazing. Yeah, man, I like Dr. Nirgozai to win this one here. I think he's way better than Brenson Ribeiro. This is a guy who's got knockout power. He's got submissions also. He's a big guy in there, and he's going to be the better fighter than Brenson Ribeiro, man. He's a guy who was on the juice when I first saw this guy fight, and he lost so much weight compared to the way he used to look when he first got into the UFC, man. This guy used to look like a fucking monster. He was so huge when I first saw him fight against Bruno Lopez in the Dana White's Contender Series. And then he lost to Ming Yang Zhang. He got knocked out in that fight. And he also lost a majority decision to Magomed Gadzhyasulov in that fight as well. He just recently came back and beat Caio Machado by split decision.
I couldn't believe he made that. I couldn't believe he went to decision those times even.
You know what I mean? And against Caio Machado, he should have been smashing this guy and only was able to get to a split decision against him. And that's when he really started to fall off. You saw the difference in size. It just didn't look like that big guy that he used to look like. I really like Dr. Nirgozai from Kazakhstan. This guy's the real deal, man. He's a very powerful striker who actually can grapple and wrestle too. He's super strong. And in the Dana White's Contender Series, made a big impression to Dana White by knocking out Bartosz Shevchik in that fight. A head kick, and then he fucking knocked him down on the ground. It was really crazy. And he's been knocking out people in the lower promotions as well. So I like this guy here. I think he's going to get the win. I'm going with Dr. To get the win by KO or submission. I think he finishes Brenson Ribeiro. How about you?
Yeah, I got to go with Dair here also, but mainly because of his grappling. He's really got to get that grappling to be able to assure himself of winning this fight. Because Ribeiro, man, he's the more dangerous striker for sure. The thing with him, I didn't think he had even enough gas to really properly finish a fight, Ribeiro, but he does. But Dr. Man, his striking's like only half decent because he doesn't really do well in countering strikes like a professional looking striker does. What I'm saying is he has to rely on this grappling, man. He has to get that working to be able to become a better striker in there. And he has to be wary that he's not on Brenson Ribeiro's level when it comes to being a pure striker. While Ribeiro may be clumsy and awkward sometimes, his strikes do hurt. He's a better knockout artist than Dr. here. So I'm going to pick Dr. here based on the fact that I think here in his UFC debut, he's got to stick to the bread and butter, what it really is, and that's the grappling. Try to get this guy down and tired nice and early. And if he does that, by the end of the first round, Ribeiro's going to have very little gas moving forward. So
Yeah, I agree.
it doesn't mean he's not going to knock him out, like somehow, but it's all dependent on the grappling. So I believe he's going to use that game plan. If he doesn't, he's an idiot. What can I say?
Yeah, man. I mean, he is pretty dangerous, man. But like I said, he's not as dangerous as he used to be off the juice.
I don't think he was ever that dangerous. Never that good. I don't think he's that good. He doesn't have much of a chin. So I was never a Brenson Ribeiro fanboy as it is. And now he's going to prove it more.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked good in the Dana White's Contender Series, but like I said, he lost a lot of weight, and like I said, after those 2 losses in the UFC, and then just barely getting that win against Caio Machado, I really don't see a big threat here. I think Dr. gets it done. All right, let's move on up to the next fight here. Oh yeah, the ladies going at it again here. We got Stephanie Luciano against your girl, Andy O, Sam Hughes, Sam Page. In this one here, I know we're going to be in disagreement, man. I am looking for Stephanie Luciano in this one, man. Now, Stephanie Luciano looked I like the way she looked, actually, when she fought Talita Alencar. She was hitting her with some big punches. She was hitting her with some good, solid right hooks. She's pretty fucking tough, man. And it was actually, the rematch to the Dana White's Contender Series where it was a draw, and Dana White didn't sign her in that fight, but they told her, hey, let's come into the UFC. He did enough. She did enough to for Dana White to invite her to the UFC to
Oh,
fight
I'm sure she did.
Talita Alankar a second time, and then she beat her by unanimous decision in that fight. She looked very, very good in that fight. The thing about Sam Hughes, man, Sam Hughes goes in there, and she's a pretty tough girl. She's got some striking. She can battle in there. But Sam Hughes is 32 years old. She's also going to be the shorter fighter.
What, in her prime?
She's also going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Sam Hughes, yeah, she's in her prime, but she's also going to be older than Stephanie. And
In her prime.
I think is going to move in the cage a lot quicker than Sam Hughes. I think she's faster than her. I think her striking is very good. I think her striking is a little better than Sam Hughes. Where Stephanie has to watch out is the grappling. I know Sam Hughes can get the fight to the ground. She's got some decent wrestling. So that's where Stephanie Luciano has to be careful. But then again, Victoria Dudakova also had some decent grappling. And when she fought Sam Hughes was able to beat her by split decision. So she wasn't even really getting a dominant win over Victoria.
That's because Sam Hughes never gets dominant wins. She always loses the first round.
Well, she had a unanimous decision against Jacqueline Amarim.
That doesn't mean she won the first round.
And she also knocked out Elise Reed. So, Sam Hughes did look pretty good a while back. But as of late, when she lost to Yasmin Yaragui and then, barely beating Victoria Dudakova. I remember that fight. You had Sam Hughes. I had Victoria Dudakova. And I was pissed off because I thought that Victoria had won that fight. And they gave it to Sam Hughes. I thought that Victoria did more in that fight. But
no doubt.
I think Stephanie can get the job done. I think she's just a little bit better than Sam Hughes. A little faster and has better boxing. So I'm going to take Stephanie Luciano to win. And she also could grapple too, Stephanie Luciano. So I think she might be able to fend off some takedowns and do a decent job there. I got her winning by a KO or decision.
All right. So the way Sam Hughes is going to win this fight is by losing the first round and maybe winning a unanimous decision because she's going to win the final 2 rounds. That's the thing with Sam Hughes, man. People always underestimate her. But the best part of her game is using her cardio as a weapon, and that opens up her striking later on. That frustrates her opponent, and she doesn't stop. And this Sam Page here, she actually works on like cardio in preparation for her fights, like triathlon shit and stuff like that. So we're not looking for anything fancy, anything spectacular. I know Stephanie Luciano has decent striking. I have no doubt she's probably going to win the first round, but I'm counting on an intangible, and that's the better gas tank and the ability to use the cardio as a weapon. So give me Sam Page, the Salmonator, by decision.
All I'm going to say is Sam Hughes is 9-6. Those losses come from somewhere. She's almost got as many losses as wins. And if we follow your theory, Andy O, the same theory you have on Andre Fili, she won, lost, and just recently won, so she should lose.
That's not a theory. That's purely, you can use it if you want. Go ahead, use it wherever you want. But
according to the Andre Fili theory, I think that the matrix there, I think Sam Hughes is due for a loss here.
That Page has better cardio. She's the gatekeeper of the bottom rung fighters. Like, she's that gatekeeper. If you want to be bottom rung in the UFC, you have to get by Sam Hughes. If you can't get by Sam Hughes, you may be less than bottom rung. Yeah.
We'll see. I got Rondina, man. I think she gets it done. Let's move on up to the main event of the prelims. If you haven't already, guys, like and subscribe. We're looking for 3 more subscribers to get to 60 subs. Let's smash that sub button. It is free. All right. So main event of the prelims, Waldo Cortes-Acosta against Ryan Spann.
Okay, here we're looking at Waldo Cortes-Acosta, who so far has performed better in the UFC overall than I suspected, but this time he's facing a Ryan Spann, who is coming up to go heavyweight. Not sure if it's the first time he's coming to heavyweight, But for him to do so, it means he's going to be automatically more skilled than Waldo Acosta. He's definitely going to be faster. He's still going to maintain his power, and he has something that Waldo does not have, the ability to get subs. He has grappling. He may not be the best guy to take the fight down there, but it could happen. And if it does, he's definitely a threat for the sub, 100% on Waldo here. And I think that's going to happen. Don't get Salsa Boy get into a rhythm because he can get the jab going. And Ryan Spann, I feel good about this one for Superman here. Another Superman.
This is absolutely crappy, man. I definitely wanted you to pick Waldo, man. We are in agreement, man, with this one. I got Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Waldo Cortes-Acosta was the one who fraud checked Rebellis de Spain in that last fight, man. Remember Rebellis de Spain that everybody thought was a fucking monster?
And what does that mean? Now people laugh at him and think he's shit. So Salsa Boy's gonna say, "Hey, I beat a super shit guy." So, you know.
What I'm trying to say is that Rebellis de Spain was this huge monster-looking guy who was super tall and big and huge and was knocking out everybody. And then he got into the UFC, faced Waldo, and he did what? He lost. Waldo was
so he's not good enough to be in the UFC. So
Waldo was able to take those big, huge punches from Rebellis de Spain that he was throwing, and it didn't phase him. He fucking took those punches. He moved around good in the cage there. He avoided getting fucking knocked out. He beat him by unanimous decision. He was able to outstrike him. He looked very good in that fight, and fraud checked him big time there. He also beat Andrei Arlovsky by unanimous decision as well. And Lukasz Brzeski, he knocked him out. Now, what's Ryan Spann done lately, bro?
He's up and down. He could look good, but he could look bad. But he's better guys.
What's he done lately other than lose? Lose to Nikita Krylov by submission.
Who's way better than those guys if you want to do MMA math.
Then he loses to Anthony Smith by split decision. Then he loses to Bogdan Guskov. He gets knocked out by Bogdan Guskov.
Who's probably way better than the fraud check that Waldo beat.
And then he beats Ovince St. Pierre, who was absolutely washed up and did nothing in that fight, in that last fight, bro.
Who's probably be better than the fraud check Acosta beat.
Nah, man, I got to go with Waldo here. I think he beats up Ryan Spann. I think Ryan Spann is washed up, 22-10. Those losses come from somewhere. He's been losing all kinds. 3 of his last 5 fights. Looks absolutely terrible. He's on his way out the UFC. Had to move up in weight because he couldn't cut it in the other weight class. I think he's going to get...
Very smart move to move up in weight here.
I think he's going to get smashed up in the heavyweight division. He's not a natural light heavy. Waldo is, so he's already going to be way bigger. If you look here on the screen here, we got 262 pounds to a 205-pounder Ryan Spann.
Yeah, because he was trying to make lightweight. That's why it's 205.
As soon as he gets up into the heavyweight, bro, he's going to be fucking way, way lighter than Waldo. He's going to be way smaller than Waldo. He's not going to be as big as him. I think he gets smashed in this one. I got Waldo winning by KO or decision. I think that he's going to be light years ahead of Ryan Spann in the heavyweight division. I think he's going to outbox him, outpoint him, maybe even knock his ass out.
So the pick is sub or knockout for Superman.
All right, I think he's going to get knocked out by Waldo. He just got knocked out by Bogdan, who's fucking not even that great, man. So let me get...
better than the fraud check.
Waldo Cortez, baby. All right, so there you have it, folks. Our early predictions for the prelims. Me and Andy O disagreeing on 2 out of the 7 fights. Not too bad. Stay tuned. Coming up next is our early predictions for the main card. Let's get it.
Last one, baby.
Peace out.